T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to the RP Show. It's a Football Friday, very special day because it's the next show. It's episode number 1556 of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. We got some stuff in there for our U.S. viewers as well. 32 states pairing in here on Game Plus TV, streaming around the world on YouTube. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, as they say, and found on all major podcast platforms. RP here, back from Calgary in a very successful Theron Fleury Golf Classic for Breaking Free Foundation. My guy Kevin the Medium is back with us. He's in his environs. I'm in mine. Hey, Kev. I miss you, my friend. How's the last 24 hours been?
It's been awesome. I've just nonstop. Left you and went out. We went out for dinner and went to a show last night. Then came home, watched that unbelievable CFL game on replay. It was awesome.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you went there first. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right down to it with a quick 6 show topics. And then we have some breaking news that, quite frankly, has everybody talking. And if Kevin, it's about the Argos and your Lions being displaced during World Cup. It's got everybody freaking out. So it's Canada's daytime sports talk show. Guess what? We're going to talk about Canadian things. So in chronological order here, I got to go first to Thursday Night Football. It was wild. And just so you know, okay, Sergio Castillo made up for an earlier miss in a big way. He booted a 47-yard field goal as time expired to lift the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to a 30-27 home win over the Ottawa Redblacks Thursday night. It was wild. The Redblacks were down 27-10 early in the fourth quarter when they began their comeback. Castillo missed a 57-yard field goal, which Coach Mike O'Shea is getting ripped for even attempting it. Khalil Pimpleton returned the ball. Khalil Pimpleton, sponsored by Clearasil, returned the ball 117 yards for the touchdown with 53 seconds to go to make it 27-27. Then the Bombers raced back the other way, game-winning field goal. Okay, full disclosure, I drove home from Calgary, was so tired when Brady Oliveira busted across the goal line and made it 27-10. I'm like, oh, this is over. I went to bed, and I fell asleep immediately. Kevin, take it from there. What happened next? Tell the world.
Well, let's go back. Winnipeg two times during that game, had a 17-point lead, and let's face it, they blew it. Bad coaching, Ottawa doing the right things at the right time. It was one of those games as a CFL fan where you just sit back and you go, wow, this is just fun to watch. Again, no skin in the game, so was I a little bit, I took Winnipeg, and if you remember, if your memory is good enough, I think I said walk-off field goal for Winnipeg to win it. And look what happened, walk-off field goal. It was just a fun game to watch. The missed field goal, run it back for a touchdown. How often do you see that? Not very often. It was fun.
Just another zany night in the CFL. You don't even have to be a purist or a diehard or even be following that closely to know these games have been wild. And here's the other thing. So I get up and I see the score. I see what happened. I turn on SportsCenter. And here's the thing. Again, we got two things to get to here in the opening segment. That game last night, and then the huge news out of the CFL about the Argonauts and BC Lions being displaced for home games with the World Cup coming next summer. I think it's got everybody going off. But Mike O'Shea, the head coach of the Blue Bombers, who's in the Hall of Fame as a player, he will be going in as a head coach, getting questioned by the TSN pundits, getting questioned by the fans, the media for kicking that field goal that they missed, the 47-yarder that came back the other way 113 yards. And I've interviewed Mike O'Shea. It's not fun. So I will say the balls on that reporter to sit there in the front row and question Mike O'Shea on his decision to go for a field goal with the lead that they had. I don't know if you saw the clip. O'Shea was like,
I didn't.
He just stared at the guy. And the TSN anchor, was, talking about what O'Shea's saying. Who are you to question my in-game coaching? For real? He makes that field goal of 47 yards. They bury him. We're not having this conversation. Luke Wilson's on his ass, too. Yeah, what did you think about him making the decision to kick a field goal there rather than punt?
You definitely go for the field goal. I mean, you've got to put the points on the board. And now it's a 2-score game at that point, if that goes through. And 99% of the time, he makes that. So did he make the right decision? Of course he did. There's certain coaches I will go, oh. O'Shea's not one of them. He's one of the most winningest coaches in this league for how many years now? Taken the Smurf Mafia to 5 Grey Cups. I'm not going to question
Bomber
him.
boy. Yeah. Well, that's, again, I don't know if it's balls or ignorance on behalf of the reporter to question his decisions late in the game. Either way, not good, but it's also not new. I mean, coaches should be used to being questioned at this stage of their careers, especially O'Shea, but I mean, come on. So from the audience, Bomber Boy writes in, he says, lots of butt clenching at Princess Auto Stadium last night, but you know what they say. They don't ask how, they ask how many. That's what O should have said to the reporter. They don't ask how. They ask how many. Don't worry about it. That's what he should have said. Boom. Okay, Rich in Edmonton says it's not that difficult to set CFL fans off. They are a very sensitive bunch. You think? Word. So here's the breaking news. The Canadian Football League, the Toronto Argonauts, and the BC Lions are opening their doors to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. With a total of 13 soccer games taking place in Toronto and Vancouver, the CFL teams will play home games away from home during the first half of the 2026 season. So during the regular season, the Argonauts will play one home game in each of Hamilton, Regina, and Winnipeg against the host teams while the FIFA World Cup is being played. The Lions, who will relocate 2 of their home games as opposed to the Argos 3, will detail their plans and ticketing details in a special announcement soon. We're going to have to, I'll say what the commissioner said, take a break and come back. This is way too big of a conversation to squeeze in here, but Commissioner Stuart Johnston saying, quote, the World Cup is a cultural event, uniting entire countries and communities under a single flag. As Toronto and Vancouver welcome the world, we're grateful to other cities and their tremendous fans for so generously making a home away from home for the Argos and the Lions. I have seen Argonauts staffers, much less the media, complaining about this. We only have 15 seconds till the break. So hang on, everybody. Formulate your thoughts, and we'll be coming right back with this on a Football Friday. Jim Barker in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus Television.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Nazareth's Canadian Farewell Tour is coming to Moose Jaw. Live at Temple Garden Center, October 17th. With special guest, Lee Aaron. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or sasktix.ca.
Football Friday continues live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. The Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. There has been a litany of texts come in on the Western Dodge text line and the YouTube chat. I'll get to those a little later because Kevin the Medium, Kevin Hughes from the Hughes Sportscast, nice enough to spend the time with us to open the program today with Moose away at the Jeux Canada Games. He sends his regards. Okay, Kev, you had a few minutes to think about that, and the audience as well that are watching here on Game Plus TV. It's pretty big news. I left my bell in Calgary, just so you know. It's if anybody finds a bell at Golf Fanatics, my breaking news bell is in Calgary. The Argos, with the World Cup coming to town next year, being to be played at BMO Field, 3 of their home games are being taken as road games. It's the best way to say it. And the BC Lions will be displaced for 2. Kev, you're a Lions fan. Do you want to speak for Lions fans and Argos fans for that matter, that this is happening? Some pissed people.
Let's just talk for CFL fans. People, this is the World Frickin' Cup. This is the biggest sporting event in the world. This is bigger than the NHL playoffs. This is bigger than the Super Bowl. Definitely bigger than the Grey Cup. This is the World Cup. Of course, anybody who thought there wasn't going to be a few adjustments during this when we found out the 2026 World Cup was coming to Canada, they were putting their head in the sand. Of course, there's going to be some displacement. It's not a big deal, really. To me, it's who cares where you play. Trust me when I say both stadiums are going to benefit greatly money-wise by having the World Cup rather than having a CFL game there. Simple. It's dineros.
The cities, I mean, you name it. I'll be honest, not a whole lot surprises me anymore. I'm not joking, nor you, I think. But I woke up, this news came down mid-morning. And just a little bit that I was on social media, because I wasn't on it a lot, I saw this outpouring of complaining. Luke Wilson is another one who says, basically, what a pro league that this would happen. And that, come on, Luke, you're not helping yourself, man. Like, that's a cheap shot. And then Luke. I've seen Argos staffers, I'll just say Argos staffers complaining about it. And I kind of have a minute for that, because it's taking money out of their pocket. You know, they work the home games, and they're not going to go on the road to Winnipeg, Hamilton, and Regina to work home games for the Argos. So I get why you're upset. But what else are they going to do? I mean,
it's a you problem. It's not the league problem. And I mean, Luke, you need to go back to being silent. I thought we silenced you. I was sure I saw a tweet saying you were not going to talk about the CFL anymore. I'm sure I saw that tweet. Come on. It's the biggest sporting event in the world, period. End of story. More people watch soccer, football, than anything else. So come on, let's move on. It's going to happen. We're not going to stop it by creating this groundswell of, oh my God, I'm going to lose $5. Your city's going to make millions.
I guess here's the thing. I bang on the CFL owners from time to time, not as much as I could. They're not dumb. And Stuart Johnston's not dumb. Randy Ambrosie was never dumb. And I'll tell you, Jeffrey P. Orge wasn't dumb either. I don't agree with everything that they do. But in this instance, what are they supposed to do for all the reasons Kevin just said? The World Cup's coming to town. This is the best that they could come up with. And I'm sorry, there's like a lot of comments. Carlos in Indianapolis says no extra touchdown series games. I don't think FIFA is using those stadiums for their World Cup game. Listen, they've thought about it, guys. We're not going to sit here today on the Rod Pedersen show and go, oh my God, we've got a better idea than the Argos and Lions owners could come up with. Oh my God. Do you actually think you're going to come up with a better idea than they could come up with? Please, let's hear it.
I'm seeing comments in the YouTube, and I'm just deep breath. It's good.
Well,
I will go rescue your bell for you.
Yeah, no, you won't. But I looked all over South Florida for that bell, just so you know. The cowbell was too loud. That Tinker bell I got at the Hobby Lobby in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And now I know I can put that on the list of things I got to do when I get back to Florida. It's a Football Friday. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Just for spits and giggles, before I get down to some more actual football talk for tonight's game, it's going to be a fun little Friday we got going on here. In the CFL tonight, Toronto's at Edmonton. In the NFL, there's a doubleheader on NFL Network. Tennessee at Atlanta, followed by KC at Seattle. The Blue Jays open a weekend series at home to Texas. And then for those of us that follow the Western Canadian Baseball League, Game 2 of the league final goes tonight in beautiful Sylvan Lake, Alberta. Gulls looking to complete a sweep over the Regina Red Sox. Our poll question is, what will you be watching tonight? The poll is for EMJ Marketing. Elevate your brand and engage your audience with EMJ Marketing. Check out emjmarketing.com. CFL, NFL, Blue Jays, or other. I mean, probably going to watch it all, but if there was only one thing, if we're going to fight over the remote, what's it settling on? For me, it will be the CFL. 85% of our viewers are saying CFL. You too, Kev?
Oh, yeah, you know. I mean, I'm not an NFL fan. I'll watch it if I'm home and have nothing else to do. But, yeah, it'll be the CFL. I'm definitely not watching the NFL preseason.
No, yet, yesterday, God bless our viewers, but they were writing in here trying to wedge in some NFL talk, and I'm like, guys. We'll worry about that once the NFL kicks off for real. It's the silly season, and there's some pretty exciting things going on in the CFL. Taylor in Calgary writes in, and he says, CFL. That's what he's watching. Of course. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, money rules the world, but soccer is the worst sport to watch. But it's not my Bombers being displaced. Ryan in upstate New York says, good day, Rod Squad. Happy Football Friday, one and all. Gary with 2 R's in BC says, for sure the CFL. He'll be watching tonight. And Monty in Saskatoon with more breaking news that I'll get to a little later. He says, the Riders are having a game in Saskatoon. in 2026. Yeah, they're bringing a preseason game up to Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. These are all things that I've been an advocate of for years. And as I told you yesterday, just as I snuff out the torch and hand off the baton, all these things that I've wanted to see for years are now happening. But to the games, a couple things about the game notes, Kev. Tonight, the Toronto Argonauts at the Edmonton Elkamos, a rematch of the 1996 Grey Cup. You being the football guy as you are, and you played high school football in Vancouver, tell me how much this stat means to you. Cody Fajardo is not only leading the CFL in completion percentage this year, but he's the CFL's all-time completion percentage leader. How much does that stat mean to you as a football guy?
You know, and I get into this with Jake on our podcast quite often with it because he's a big stat guy. Like, he loves to dig into his stats and make stories up based on the stats. I look at wins, losses. And right now, Cody, yes, he's leading the league in completion percentage, but his team isn't winning. They need to win. That'll fix all the ills. So how much does that mean? Yeah, about that much.
Yeah, and there's no bigger Cody Fajardo fan than me, not named Fajardo, but I'm like, that's if all the records I would want to be remembered for as a quarterback, the completion percentage record probably isn't one of them. Grey Cup wins as a starter, yes. And I, in the game notes, by the way, his career record was in there. I think it's 44-31. That's pretty damn good. And you talked about their record. The Elks, it ain't great. You got to start somewhere. The one thing for Cody, though, for the people that say he's not accurate, Jeff Fairholm, what? All-time completion percentage leader in CFL history. For that reason, it's nice to shove things where the sun don't shine, which I like to do. I like to do it. So with that stat, you can't say he's not accurate. I mean, because you don't have a dog in the fight. How do you feel as a guy just sitting and seeing all the negativity spewed at Cody Fajardo out there? Yeah, like, it makes me sick, but I'm a little obviously personally biased because we're close. How do you feel as a guy that just watching it?
Well, it was funny because Jake and I were talking about this exact thing. If you look at Edmonton's record, yeah, they're not having the greatest year. But the games they're losing by less than a touchdown. Like, they're in every single game. Has there been a few where it's been and not the greatest? Yeah, but they're in every game. Correct a few mistakes, and their record looks a whole lot different. So Cody, I think, is the guy up there. He's going to turn this team around. Will it be this year? Who knows? There's a whole new coaching staff. You've talked about it. That doesn't turn around overnight. It could take the rest of this season into next season. Then we might see a difference.
Well, all of his numbers, if you look at them, are pretty damn good on that team. You know, but it's a bad team. He can't do it alone. He's the Connor Bedard of football. Yes. He can't do it alone. Yet everybody's looking at him because you're the face of the team. And it's not fair, but it is what it is. Here's one for you, Kev. Noni in Calgary writes in, this is so awesome. On the Western Dodge text line, Noni says, hey, Rod, I'm in Calgary and coming to Regina tonight. I could rescue the bell if you tell me where it is. I hate to have you do that, Noni, but I also know you personally, and I know that you not only would do it, you would gladly do it. So Kevin and I were together on the second floor of Golf Fanatics. It's right at the corner of Glenmore and Deerfoot. And it's in the lounge. It's like probably sitting on the bar. So I was packing my gear, which tell the folks, Kev, I almost left this gear in Calgary. Tell them that story.
We're packing up and Rod says, can you go check how soon lunch is going to be downstairs? So I go downstairs and everybody's eating their hamburgers. So I come running back upstairs. I'm like, Rod, everybody's already eating. So we said, okay, we'll just pack this stuff up after lunch. So we go down and have lunch, do the hot stove lounge, which was amazing, by the way. Who knew Tim Hunter was the funniest man of the bunch? Not I. And Rod's in a hurry to get home. He's got a 7-hour drive. Is it 7 hours? Ish. And he's in a hurry to get home. So he's getting ready and he's ready to go. And I look at him. I'm like, dude, we need to pack your stuff up upstairs. And he's like,
I almost jumped in the car and left all my gear on the second floor of Golf Fanatics. And like Kev's like, you'd have been halfway home. Be like forgetting a kid, you know, which people have done. I
tried, but Jake just keeps coming back.
Yeah, right. I remember driving from Regina to Cranbrook one time, and we had stopped in Fort McLeod, the one straight south of Calgary. And my daughter was so quiet in the back. I was like, you still there? Had her headphones in, watching a movie, you know what I mean? Just totally forgot. I'm like, wouldn't have shocked me. Anyways, Noni, if you go to Golf Fanatics, ask for Todd or Dana, and say, hey, I'm here with the Rod Pedersen Show. Rod left his bell. Can I go upstairs and find it? They will say, ha, 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 what an idiot. Yes, you go ahead.
Here it is.
Yeah, they might even have it. Todd or Dana are the people to talk to, Noni, and that's very nice of you to offer to do that. I appreciate it. And if I didn't think you'd actually do it, I wouldn't ask, but you offered. And when people offer nice things, take them up on it. Okay.
I'm picturing now 15 people going into Fanatics asking for the bell.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, thank you. It would help me out because they're not easy to find. They're harder to find than you would think. 902-518-3033. Aren't we having fun today? So I got some BC Montreal things coming up that I want to ask you after the break. The poll question is, what are you watching tonight? CFL, NFL, Blue Jays, or other? Ray in Scarborough, Ontario writes in, he goes, CFL, go Argos. Greg in Calgary says, can't the CFL schedule 3 of 4 of those games on the road so they would only have to relocate one home game each? I'll say it again. Greg, you're a great guy, but these teams aren't stupid. They would have looked at every possible permutation, combination. This is the best that they could come up with. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We're having so much fun on this Football Friday. It's going to be a shame to have to say goodbye to Kevin Hughes after this segment. He of the Hughes Sports Podcast, and also Kevin the Medium. He talks to dead people. And also from Rangeland RV. These comments. Janice writes in. She's a Stamps fan living in Edmonton. She says, the El Camos are so much improved from last year. Cody Fajardo can take them another step closer. Looking forward to the game tonight. Rich in Edmonton says the Elks are improving. They've been in pretty much every game this year. It's not like they're getting blown out every weekend, people. Regarding me almost leaving my broadcast gear in Calgary and Kevin saving me, Shy in Saskatchewan writes in. He says, I was with my dad one night. We went over the train tracks on Pasqua Street. My dad got to Lumsden when he realized the horse trailer was gone. Found it resting on a tree at the tracks. I would say, I hope there wasn't a horse in it. Okay, Kev. I'll come back. There's a lot of comments on the Argos and Lions being displaced because of World Cup, which, by the way, we all knew this was going to happen. So get it all off your chest, the bitching now, everybody, because it just was announced this morning. Argos going to have 3 games played out of market, the Lions 2. Ken in Mississauga says these home but away games for the Argos sound fine to me. Hamilton will probably sell out, and always good crowds at Mosaic and Princess Auto Stadium. Yeah, the money will go to the Argos. It's just those staff and fans are pissed. Eric Core writes in, he says, as a Lions season ticket holder that doesn't watch soccer, I care where the Lions play. I guess we're all venting here today. We are where y'all come to grieve. Okay, but there is a game there tomorrow, the Lions and the Alouettes. And I want to thank Joey from the Alouettes because I'm not following it as closely. I'm not a day-to-day frontline CFL reporter. I texted my guy Joey from the Alouettes and I said, is McLeod Bethel Thompson playing tomorrow? Just so I don't look like an idiot. And he's like, no, he's on the 6th game with an elbow injury. So Macbeth is not playing for Montreal at BC. Kev, this should be a 6-inch putt for your Lions, I would think.
Well, I think it could be one of those scary games where the Lions walk in going, oh, we've got this. It's these games that kind of can break your team. So the Lions need to come out and make a statement this week. And I mean, make a statement. You love the term motorboating. This is the team we need to motorboat. We need to win by 25, 30 points.
Well, and that reminds me, you'll be gone after this segment, and I'll be taking viewers' questions at 902-518-3033. More on that Riders-Hamilton game. But, I mean, I think it just matters if you win. Somebody wrote in here earlier. Oh, actually, here it is. Gary in Winnipeg says, good morning, Rod. Bomber fans are concerned that their team's defense has surrendered a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter of the past 2 games, considering that they are 5-4 in the first half of the season. He goes on and oh my God, you won the damn game. Imagine if you hadn't. How much would you be bitching if you'd lost, Bomber fans? So, I mean, Kev, I would just, all that matters is that you win. No?
I you know what? I usually agree with that statement, but I think for the Lions, I think this one's more than they need to win. They need to dominate this one. They need to show that they are as good on paper. Sorry, they are as good on field as they are on paper. And this is the game they can do it. Let's see another 400 plus yards for Rourke. Let's see Butler turn it up again. I'd like to see a blowout, to be blunt.
Okay. So you're going to be mad if you win, but don't blow them out?
I'm irrational, Rod. You know how it goes.
Well, try to be a little more rational, or don't. But it's just
not.
Well, no, I know, but the thing is, the football people watch this show, and the hockey people do as well. And I'll tell you how the football people think. I mean, specifically George Cortez, because we've sat around drinking coffee and talking about this at the Capitol Grill in Houston, Texas, specifically. He's like, the fans want you to be 18-0. They want you to score 300 to 400 yards on offense, sub 200 on defense. They want a perfect game every game. And he goes, we as coaches know that's never going to happen. That is never going to. Nobody's ever gone 18-0. It's never happened.
No.
So if that's your baseline, you're going to be pissed off. Even the coaches aren't, because as George said, who is incidentally the greatest coordinator there's ever been in the CFL, and it's not debatable. The whole idea is to build game by game by game by game in every facet, individually, on offense, on defense, as a team. And that's why I think it gets tiring. And you need a good leader of the team that understands that. Okay,
Yes.
Because Jim Hobson, you hear me talk about him all the time. Back when I was in those meetings with the Rough Riders, he would be peeling the paint of Brendan Tammett and Corey Chamberlain, or even Ken Austin. And they would go, Jim, chill out, because this is what we're doing, right? But you try and tell the fans that, and people like you don't want to hear it.
No.
That's the difference, right?
And it's, again, I mean, it's just been a couple years that I've pulled the curtain back and became the podcaster.
Media.
I always go quotation marks when I say podcaster. But I'm still a fan. I'm a fan first. Everything else comes second.
Well, that's totally fine. But if we discount your opinion, you'll understand why. Because you're not looking at it rationally. That's all. Look at it however you want. But I'm saying that's not the way that I'm going to look at it. And whether you should or shouldn't is we're not going to answer that here today. But, we have a lot to get to after Kevin adjourns. I want to mention this to you. You saw yesterday the NFL sending me these news releases. They're great. Here's one. The NFL announced today that the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan, has officially returned for the 2025 season, and nominations are now open. Now in its 5th year, the annual contest celebrates fans who spice up the game with their passion for football and serve as a positive force in their families, communities, and beyond. Now, I feel like the CFL might have used to do this. I don't think they still do this. I mean, that's when people say, oh, we're not the NFL. What would stop you from doing it? Just popped into my head. We don't have a Coordinator of the Year award like the NFL has. We don't have Media Person of the Year award. We don't have Fan of the Year. Like, my God, how hard would it be to do this? That's the thing that pisses me off. Luke Wilson gets mad about mistakes on the field and non-perfect play, but that's a whole other thing than this.
Yes.
Your thoughts on
and
that?
That's what you're talking about is the marketing of the game. That's all that is for the NFL. A Fan of the Year. I mean, I could get a million of my friends to vote me the Fan of the Year for the CFL.
Yeah.
It's marketing. That is just content, especially in today's day of social media. It's all about content, as you know. You were doing it long before it was popular. CFL has got to take notice. We've got to start marketing this game that we both love.
And that's where I get annoyed. Okay.
Yes.
And when I bring it up every day, I had a long-time CFL guy text me this morning about some big argument he'd had with his buddies about the future of the CFL and CFL business. I said, leave me out of it. Just leave me out of it, okay? Because I don't want to talk about it. What is being done about that? Well, taking preseason games on the road to Saskatoon, and so I guess now they're starting to. There's a lot of things that need to be done that haven't been done for years. But anyways, you had Sean Millington on the Hughes Sports Podcast. Can you talk about that? We got just under 2 minutes here.
What a great interview that was. He talked about what he's doing now more than he did about his playing career. And he made that statement saying, if you're living in the past, you're not doing anything now. Mm-hmm. And he is doing amazing things with his personal fitness trainer and coach. amazing. And when I saw him doing that, I'm like, oh, it's Sean Millington. He's going to be coaching the elite. Nah, he's coaching fat old guys like me to get back into shape. Matter of fact, Angela and I actually talked about it. We're going to give him a call and see what kind of a package he could put together for us.
Beautiful. Millie, as they say, Sean Millington, a BC Lions great on the Hughes Sports Podcast. Just tell folks where they can watch it, Kev.
They can watch it. They can check it out on Facebook or anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all of them. Look up HSP, Hughes Sports Podcast. We're everywhere.
Yeah, it's not hard to find. Kevin and his wonderful son, Jake. I enjoy it. It's a Vancouver slant on sports, so Canucks and Lions heavy. But I watch it anyways. Okay, Kev, this has been so much fun. All right, thank you. Have a great weekend. Say hey to everybody in Calgary for me.
Talk to everybody later.
All right, don't exit just yet. Kevin the Medium, Kevin Hughes. He wears a lot of hats, and we're so grateful to have him on here today. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're enjoying a football Friday. And I specifically hope you're enjoying the CFL talk because I'll be going back to Florida next month. And we will have a lot more NFL and college football talk because we'd be idiots if we didn't. But right now, the CFL is front and center. And we're having quite a discussion today in that Argos fans are violent. And to a certain degree, some BC Lions fans news with what I'll paraphrase. I won't read the news release again, but with the FIFA World Cup of soccer coming to Canada next summer, the Argonauts will have 3 home games displaced. So they'll have to play those 3 home games on the road. They're going to Hamilton, Winnipeg, and Regina to do it. And the BC Lions will have 2 games displaced, and they haven't announced the details on where those will be yet. And the Argo fans are going crazy, which, by the way, I do get it. Kirk from Toronto is watching on the Game Plus television network. He watches this every day. And he writes in and he says, "Hey, Rod, the Argos always get screwed. Do you think they would displace Blue Jay games? And by the way, the Cup games in Toronto are lower tier countries. What a joke." He goes on to say, if Toronto had an NFL team, do you think their games would be displaced? No. World Cup games would be played at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. I guess what I'm saying here is that it's not changing, okay? So as a certified professional recovery coach, mental health, grief, stress, and trauma, we're almost at a point here, and it's not even noon out in the West, of saying it is what it is. Deal with it. And we very quickly quashed this. People are writing in with other options of where to play. No. They've thought about it. Okay, this has been on their docket for a couple of years now. This is the best they could do. So we're kind of sitting here saying, deal with it. On the fact that fans want their teams to go 18-0, and if they don't, they're pissed. Janice in Edmonton writes in, Stampeders fan says, CFL fans need to enjoy the evolution of a team in the quest for the Grey Cup. Enjoy the highs and the lows. If you don't, you will always be disappointed. Yeah, I shouldn't say all fans are that way and want them to go 18-0, but a lot are. It's not just a CFL thing either, because I don't know who they were playing, but I guess the Miami Dolphins just got motorboated in a scrimmage the other day. Any NFL fans that are watching, who do they play? And the fans are violent because they got embarrassed in a practice. I'm peeing in the wind here. It's waste of time. Gary in BC writes in, Gary with 2 R's says, 100% it's marketing. That is what the CFL is missing, and I will never get moved off that. Like, our opening topic today was the game last night, the Thursday night football game. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ashamed. I drove a lot in the last 24 hours. Round trip to Calgary back. I was tired. And it's a pretty heavy event we were at Theo's, raising money for trauma and sexual abuse victims and survivors. I was ready to go to bed. When Brady Oliveira scored the touchdown and the Bombers went up 27-10 in the second half, I'm like, oh, this is over. I'm going to bed. Don't! CFL fans, you don't do that. Bombers came back Red Blacks came back and tied it. A convolution of events, if that's a word, late in the game, almost cost the Bombers the game. But then Sergio Castillo hits a 57-yard field goal with no time left, and the Bombers win it, and Bob's your uncle, right? No, wrong. Mike O'Shea's getting called out for late game decisions and so forth, even though his team won. All I'm saying is that's the CFL at its finest right there. And I don't think anything needs to be changed. I never played football. I've never played it. I mean, I understand where Luke Wilson's coming from. This isn't perfect. That's not perfect on the field. But the thing that I think annoys a lot of the longtime CFL people, and why I don't think I've locked horns with Luke on all this, is we've had one-on-one discussions. I support him to a point. But even me, as a longtime CFL fan, and I started working in the league in 91, you've been here 5 minutes. And you're calling out all these things with the CFL game. Like, what was it, 2-3 years ago? The CFL brought in 9 rule changes, which, if you know the change-averse Canadian Football League, to bring in 9 rule changes, but to make the game better. That's why they did it, and it's worked. The games are fantastic. But the marketing of it continues to be dreadful, and it goes back to the thing like the NFL's got this best fan award that they're announcing today, brought to you by Captain Morgan. I don't see the CFL doing those things. And it's not that hard for anybody saying, oh, we don't have the budget. It's the creativity that's lacking. Arlen writes in and he says, great morning, RP. Arlen Bruce III. He says, I'm heading to the Elks versus Argos tonight in Edmonton. Where is the CFL commish? The CFL commish, AB, is speaking to the media today via news release. As a matter of fact, let me go find it for those that just showed up. This was the breaking news out of the Canadian Football League today. And we just covered it. But the Argos and the Lions are going to have a combined 5 games displaced because of the World Cup. So Stuart Johnston, the CFL commissioner, saying today, quote, the World Cup is a cultural event uniting entire countries and communities under a single flag. As Toronto and Vancouver welcome the world, we're grateful to other cities and their tremendous fans for so generously making a home away from home for the Argonauts and the Lions. Bigger picture here, because Argos fans, I've read their comments today, are violently upset about this. Lions fans, not as much, but they're not pleased. It speaks to a bigger thing. I just spent the day with mental health professionals as we continue to be in a global mental health crisis. People just overall aren't happy on the world, and this just gives them a reason to bitch and be upset. So your question is, where's the commissioner? That's where he is, speaking to the media on that. By the way, Hour 1 is brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers tonight at Rogers Center. Toronto coming off a 2-1 win over the Chicago Cubs Thursday to take that series and sit 5 games ahead of Boston atop the American League East. Chris Bassett gets the start for the Jays. Jacob deGrom on the mound for Texas. Game 2 of the Western Canadian Baseball League Championship goes tonight in Sylvan Lake. The Gulls, with a win over the Regina Red Sox tonight, will sweep it and win their first ever league title. If Regina wins, Game 3 Saturday, also in Sylvan. The WNBA makes history tonight as the Seattle Storm faces the Atlanta Dream in Vancouver. It's the league's first regular season game ever outside the USA. Scotland's Robert McIntyre leads the PGA Tour's BMW Championship at 8 under, heading into today's second round. France's Agatha Cernusik tops the LPGA Tour's Portland Classic at 8 under. With Brooke Henderson 1 shot back. The Senior Tour is also in action with the Rogers Charity Classic getting underway today in Calgary. The sports headlines are for CoolBet Canada. Get a welcome bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Only for Canadian viewers. Sorry, America. Oh, the poll question today is, what are you going to be watching tonight for EMJ marketing? You're going to be watching CFL, NFL, Blue Jays, or other? Greg in Calgary writes in and says, I'll watch the CFL because the Jays game is on Apple TV. Well, I've got Apple TV, so yeah. Darren writes in from Melfort and says, the Bombers and TSN stating it was a sellout last night is ridiculous. Must have been corporate seat spot and not used, or people standing because there were many empty seats. I don't know about that, Darren. I think it was a legitimate sellout. I really do. You're a Rider fan, right? Rider fans reluctantly, almost refusing to give up the mantle of the best fan base. But that's what it is. The Bombers have it. I did watch the game last night. I didn't see the empty seats of which you speak. Sorry. Noni in Calgary's picking up my bell, which I left at Golf Fanatics. Oh, such an idiot. But I almost left all of my gear there, so thank you, Noni. She says, consider it done. My nephew who lives in Moose Jaw will be at the Rider game with me tomorrow, so we can figure out delivery for you. I know I met your nephew. He's got the long hair. You think I don't remember these things? I remember everything. Somebody brought that up the other day. They said, what a gift. I said, no, it's exhausting. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. I do want to talk more about the Riders Ticats game tomorrow. What do we got here? Oh, Laura writes in from Edmonton. She sends me a picture of her bell. She says, hi, Rod, I have a really nice bell I would love to send you if you can't find yours. It sounds beautiful. If you need a bell, I can mail it to you. Just need a mailing address. Anyways, great show. Thanks, Laura from Edmonton. It's like green and gold. She sent me a picture of it. It would actually be perfect. I guess if you can get it here within the next 3 weeks, Laura, I would humbly accept that bell. That thing looks like a family heirloom to me. It's not just any bell. But you can send it to courtesy the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Look it up, the baseball team for which I work. People have been sending me things here in Moose Jaw to the baseball team. I don't ask for them. They just send it. Ron in Calgary writes in, he says, morning, Rod, I watched the game last night, and if you didn't like that game, no matter who you're supporting, you truly aren't a CFL fan. That's what I'm saying. It's not perfect, but I can sit here and poke out things from the NHL. I can tell you a hell of a lot of things that are wrong with junior hockey, and that's my favorite brand of hockey. The unpredictability, the fact that it's perfectly imperfect. That's where Luke Wilson and I disagree, and I hope that we're mature enough to be able to have a discussion, disagree, and still be friends. That's what we're missing in the world today. We'll be back with Hour 2 right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
It's a trip. Welcome to hour 2 of the RP Show, everybody. It's a football Friday here on the Game Plus Television Network. I'm a little out of sorts. If you're just jumping in, you've missed a lot, as usual. It's hour 2 here as we set sail on episode number 1556 of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show, where we talk primarily football and hockey, mixing in some baseball, and it is August, so therefore a lot of summer sports. Not a lot of hockey today, but it's a football Friday. Jim Barker is coming up in the next segment. But again, if you're just missing us or just joining us, you've missed a lot. Where to start? Our poll question is simply this. What are you watching tonight on your telly? It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Elevate your brand and engage your audience with EMJ Marketing. Check out emjmarketing.com. The options, CFL, NFL, Blue Jays, or other. Leading the way, 67% of you saying CFL. It's Toronto at Edmonton tonight. 19% saying the Blue Jays, even though it's on Apple TV, and not everybody has that. Only 5% say the NFL. Preseason, it's a doubleheader on NFL Network, and 9% voting for other. I will be watching them all, plus I'll probably be able to sneak in an episode or two of my favorite show, Forensic Files. 30 minutes, snack size, Bob's your uncle. But we were talking about last night's unbelievable ending to the Ottawa-Winnipeg game. I went to bed because I'd had a very emotional, heavy day in Calgary with the Breaking Free Foundation raising money for trauma and sex abuse survivor support with Theo and his gang. This is a heavy day. I turned on the football game, saw Brady Oliveira smash into the end zone in the second half for Winnipeg. They went up 27-10. I'm like, oh, this is over. Wake up this morning. What? What happened? That should be the CFL slogan this year. What happened? Whereas Navy Don writes in from Ottawa, he says, I was the same way. Went to bed as well. Life in the Eastern time zone. It was worse when I lived in Halifax. The VCR got a big workout back then. To make a long story short, Ottawa came back, tied at 27-27. We'll get into how that happened when Jim Barker joins us next segment, but Sergio Castillo kicks a 57-yard field goal. Bombers win it. Bob's your uncle. And we move forward to tonight's game, Toronto at Edmonton, which Arlen Bruce is checking in. He's got a question on the game. I'll get to that in a second. I'm just dropping in and out on the comments from the viewers here. The breaking news today, I'll paraphrase, because the people that were courteous enough to show up on time heard me read it twice. The CFL announcing today that next summer when the FIFA World Cup, the world's biggest tournament, soccer, comes to Canada next year, the Argonauts are going to be kicked out of their stadium for 3 home games, so they're moving those home games to Hamilton, Winnipeg, and Regina. And the BC Lions are going to be kicked out in Vancouver for 2 games, so they haven't announced which ones yet. Predictably, fans are losing their minds. Troy in Toronto writes in and says, when you get the opportunity to host World Cup games, it comes first. Economically, the World Cup will bring massive revenue immediately and future residual tourism to Canada. The Argos can step aside. Well said, Troy. But not everybody feels that way. So as we've been saying for an hour, don't bother coming up with your ideas of what would have worked better. Pretty sure they thought about it. So Arlen Bruce has checked in. AB, I know you're a busy guy. He missed it. We talked about this. The game tonight in the CFL is Toronto at Edmonton. He says, Nick Arbuckle versus Cody Fajardo. I'm leading towards Cody. And he says, RP, do you think Shadir Sanders makes the team in Cleveland? One thing at a time. Last hour when Kevin the Medium was with us, co-hosting from the Hughes Sports Podcast, as we continue to have rotating co-hosts with Moose not available. He's working the Canada games in St. John, Newfoundland, and he says the Newfoundlanders are the nicest people on the planet, nicest people he's ever encountered. I'm like, I've heard that. That's a nice thing to be known for. So Moose sends his regards. We just spoke this morning. But I said to Kevin this morning, because he's football first, I said, how do you feel about the fact Cody Fajardo has not only the highest completion percentage in the CFL this year, but he's got the highest completion percentage in CFL history? Does that mean anything to you? And Kevin is a football first guy. He said, not really. Wins would mean more. But I'm like, yeah, as usual, Cody's stuck on a bad team. I mean, he wasn't in Montreal. He wasn't necessarily in Saskatchewan, but he was shown the door in both places, and now he's on a bad team in Edmonton. So anyways, I'm with you, Arlen. I think Edmonton wins tonight. Nick Arbuckle started every game for the Argos this year. You know what their record is. It's why the quarterbacks get all the money. It's why the quarterbacks get the girls. They get all the credit. They get all the blame. Similar to goalies, you know. The thing with the highest completion percentage, it helps that stat to have in your back pocket when you've got guys like Jeff Fairholm, my favorite Rough Rider ever, and a friend, I think. I do believe he is, but he's been taking these pot shots at Cody, and I don't like that. And he had said going into the game last week, Edmonton at Montreal, how he was looking forward to seeing Cody one-hopping passes into the turf in front of his receivers. Having the highest all-time completion percentage in CFL history kind of works well to combat that. So if you want to shove it down somebody's throat, which Cody also did that night, that helps. But I think being at home should help Edmonton, but road teams have won more games in the CFL this year, which is interesting. Toronto's just not that good. This is a battle of two not very good teams tonight. Can we just say it for what it is? And one other CFL note, I find it hilarious that Mike O'Shea was getting called out, the coach of the Bombers, in the post-game news conference, and then by pundits on TSN for his late-game decisions to kick a field goal when they tried to bury Ottawa. His kicker misses. Red Blacks return at 113 yards for a touchdown, and oh my God, we got a tie game. O'Shea didn't see that coming. So, yeah, he would do it again. And they replayed his post-game news conference on SportsCenter, and he was just astounded. That was the sense. I mean, I don't know Mike O'Shea well. I've interviewed him a number of times. It's not fun. So the kahunas on that reporter to sit there and ask Mike O'Shea why he did that, because O'Shea basically looked at him like, are you for real? Are you actually asking me that? That's what I think was on his mind. All these people that have never coached a game and think it's Madden are questioning Mike O'Shea. Say it out loud again. And on Shadur, as you know, Arlen, as well or better than anybody else, politics does factor. It factored into why Shadur went in the 5th round. Was he top 5 as was projected? Probably not. But as his talent match round 5? Also probably not. He threw 2 touchdowns in his preseason debut. What do we all want? The opportunity to go on the field and do our talking there. That's what we all want. Or for me to come on here every day and have the opportunity to shove it down people's throats that didn't think we could do it. Shadur's done that. If he does not make the Cleveland Browns, number one, where's he going to go? And number two, why wouldn't he make the Cleveland Browns at this point? Unless the team doesn't want to deal with the circus, which 31 other teams didn't want to. That's why he's in Cleveland. You know, I was at a Florida Panthers watch party. This is hilarious if Brent from Wellington, Florida is watching. It was at Bonefish Max in Wellington, Florida, and watching the Panthers. And for some, I don't remember. Brent, help me out with this. This kid comes up to me. He's like 7. You know, kids these days. He's like, I heard you worked in football. I'm like, yep. What do you think about Shadur Sanders slipping to the 5th round? And I said, what do I think about it? What do you think about it? And more importantly, why do you think he slipped to the 5th round? And the kid goes, because he talks too much. Yes. Welcome to Florida. They know. So if Shedeur doesn't make the team, it won't be because of his play on the field. He's done everything he can there so far. So my point is, why wouldn't he make the team? That's all. Rich in Edmonton writes in and says, regarding tonight's Game 2 of the Western Canadian Baseball League final, he says, I've heard that's a great little ballpark in Sylvan. Go give, if you're on social media, Rich, go give the Sylvan Lake Gulls a follow. I've talked to my players here at Moose Jaw Miller Express, and I asked them, what's your favorite ballpark on the road? And most of them say Sylvan Lake. So that's pretty awesome. Gary in BC, thank you, because we have spent not nearly enough time on the Sask-Hamilton game tomorrow. I don't think this one should be close. I'm going to be honest with you. Gary says the Riders need to win tomorrow, and it's not going to be easy. Well, they need to win every game. I almost said we. But they're 7-1. They don't really need to. Sorry to burst your bubble. They don't really need to. And I did have fun regaling some stories yesterday on the last time they were 7-1 and went to 8-1. It was 2013. Started 8-1. Then we lost 4 in a row. Immediately following the incident where a bunch of our players got involved in a brawl outside a bar on Dudney Avenue, and they beat up a bunch of drug dealers. Quite frankly, I thought that they should have been given medals and keys to the city, our players. Cops felt otherwise. It became a huge thing within the locker room. And I'll be honest, our president, Jim Hobson, didn't want them to play the next. DA was one. Help me out, everybody. Who are the other one? LaRon Mitchell? No. LaRon somebody. DA was like the big name. And but they did play. Labor relations was invoked on that one. But we lost 4 in a row. G-Roy Simon brought the team back together. It wasn't Corey Chamberlain, and Shane would tell you that. G-Roy did it. But I remember flying home from – the reason I bring this all up was when the Riders in their last game won 34-6 at Montreal. It was the fewest points they'd allowed in a game since 2013. And that year, we shut out 2 teams. We shut out the Ticats in Guelph. And I believe that was the year that we shut out the Bombers in the Labor Day Classic, I think. That might have been the next year. But either way, we were great. I remember flying home from that game in Guelph. Paul Waldo was beside me on the plane, and he leaned over. Deadpan. He goes, we're kicking the crap out of everybody. Yes, we are. I don't have my bell, so I'm going to have to do this. It's 11:11 Mountain. If you observe, which I do. Look up the significance of it, by the way. Anyways, AB, I'm just trying to get to as many of your answers here as I can. As Carlos in Indianapolis has pointed out, 1:11 Eastern. Arland says, by the way, a teammate of Mike O'Shea's back in the day. He says, RP, even if Mike O'Shea never wins another Grey Cup, he is still one of the best coaches to coach in the CFL. He knows them X's and O's, but he also knows how to handle the players. He knows the ins and outs of everything. Mike O'Shea is, I wonder if he's human. I think if you went out and, dumped him out of a boat on Lake Ontario, I think he could walk on the water. I'm not joking. He's similar to Wally in that, I've said it on this show before, Wally Buono had a Hall of Fame career as a coach and GM in Calgary, and then a Hall of Fame career as a coach and GM in BC. 2 separate Hall of Fame careers. Mike O'Shea's in the Hall of Fame as a player, and as you're saying, AB, would be a Hall of Fame player, coach with his 2 Grey Cups. Absolutely. And the reporter's going to sit there and question him on his in-game decisions. Okay. And back to that Rider thing, by the way, because I got all these numbers and stats going in and out of my mind, but if I'm right on this, somebody will correct me, I know, but by far the best defense in the CFL, by a mile the best run defense in the CFL, and defense wins championships, and my God, why are we not just penciling their name? Why do we not chiseling their name in on the Grey Cup right now. Bill in the Queen City writes in, he says, sorry, had to step away for a bit. Well, you're excused, Bill. He says, the game last, my father would have called a game from the West. Okay. Arlen says, Damon Allen, G. Roy Simon, and Milt Stegall is probably my favorite teammates of all time. Well, what I can confirm, what I can guarantee is they're all fantastic guys. I know them all well and love them all. You're right. They are great guys. Oh, yes. Glenn with 2 N's writes in and says, Taj Smith was also in that brawl on Dudney. Tajadeen, also a close friend of mine, he felt really bad about that. Out of all those guys that beat up those gang members that night, Taj actually felt bad about it. Oh, they can't find the bell at Golf Fanatics. Well, Noni, thanks for stopping in there. My guess is it's tucked away somewhere. I do not have it. Trust me, I looked everywhere. My bell, my breaking news bell. Thanks for stopping in there. I feel sorry for wasting your time. Safe travels, at least, on your way here for the football game tomorrow. And we'll get into more of the game tomorrow with Jim Barker when he joins us next. And these Argo fans are just going off today. I know you feel you always get the shaft. And by the way, you do. But some of us get the shaft a lot. We just get used to it. Get your questions in for Jim Barker next. Western Dodge text line is open too. Proud partners of the RP show, Western Dodge and Moose Jaw. Big city selection with small town service. 902-518-3033. We'll be back in a flash here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Oh, boy, we're in one today. We're exactly 1 week ago today. Jim Barker was with us here in Moose Jaw, Western Dodge. Today, he's back in the GTA, back home. Hey, Coach, how you doing this fine Friday?
Doing great. Doing fantastic. Not quite like Moose Jaw, but it's hotter than Moose Jaw, I can tell you that.
You can have it. You can have it. It's very comfortable, as you know, out here in Canada's most notorious city. Jim, we're in one today. We're in one. I don't know how much you've been watching. I'll get to the violent Argo fans in a second. That CFL game last night, another classic, just a classic ending in the CFL last night. Ottawa and Winnipeg Bombers winning at 30-27 on the last-second field goal.
Well, it was a classic water cooler game because there's so many things in that game that you can sit at the water cooler at work and talk about. One being the O'Shea decision. And where that reporter that you talked about that asked him about why did he do it, that wasn't the question to ask Mike O'Shea. And I know because I've coached with Mike. He was a player. We both worked for – have you ever seen South Park? And that kid who says, what would Jesus do? Well, the question to Mike O'Shea is, what would Don Matthews do? And Don believed, who was hugely influential in Osha's career and mine. We were both with him a lot. And he believed any field goal over 50 yards that you try should be returned for a touchdown. And he just felt that was, and I know Sergio made a 63-yarder, but in that situation, they've got their backup quarterback playing quarterback, and you're up by 7. And they have Khalil Pimpleton returning it. I understand. I haven't heard any of the pundits and what they're saying, but I'm just saying from a coach's perspective and from a Mike O'Shea, because I know his background. And if you ask him, what would Don Matthews have done? I promise you, he would have said Don Matthews would have punted it and got the win. He would not have gone for a field goal and allowed, because he thinks that's one of the easiest ways to score on special teams is a field goal over 50. You got linemen. Even if you bring in your linebackers and things that can run a little, that's a huge field to bring a guy like Pimpleton down. And that was the first thing that went through my mind is Don is rolling over in his grave, Osh. It was. But then you go the other way and you look at, they get the ball back with 37 seconds on the interception. Ottawa does. This is prior to the last kick of the game. With 37 seconds. Now, normally what you're going to do, because they were backed up, they were back around the 20. Normally what you're going to do is hand the ball off, and if you get 10 or 12 yards, now you got a chance to throw a pass, get in position to kick it. What they did was they threw a pass on first down, and it was only going to get them 3 yards. A little flat pass, incomplete. Stops the clock. Winnipeg doesn't have to use their timeout. So now they run the ball and get 7 yards on second down, but they take a timeout. So now they're forced into punting the ball. And I just think if they'd have switched that around and run the ball on first down, maybe they only get 2 or 3 yards. And then if you're going to throw it on second down, what you're going to do on first down by running is force that timeout then. Now you control the game. As long as they have a timeout, they can still control the clock. So that's what I would have done. I would have run the ball on first down, and then if depending on how far I have and what we did, will depend on what we're going to do on second down. So that was the first major thing. And then when they punt the ball, they end up getting the ball back around the 45. And again, Zach Collaros showed why Zach Collaros is still one of he's just a great player. I mean, he never tucks the ball down, only when the game's on the line. And I'll never forget my first year in the league in '97. We're in the playoffs against Montreal in the Rogers Center, and we're having a tough time. And he just takes the ball and goes. 3 straight runs Doug Flutie made. Well, that's exactly what Zach did here. Zach goes back, thing opens up, they play 2-man, which is a shock because they're not expecting him to run the ball. 2-man, all the underneath guys, all the linebacker types are all covering guys with 2 guys behind it. So it's a safe pass coverage. But if the quarterback ekes through the line, he's running for a while. And he, of course, ran for 17 yards. The TV announcer said, now they're going to get it in the middle. Well, it was still over 50. It was 52-yard field goal. And the middle in the CFL is not what it used to be. I mean, it's hard to get the ball in the middle. The hash marks are so close together. So, of course, he threw an out cut, got a 10-yard gain, moved it up 10 yards, and it was just almost like a chip shot for Sergio. So there was just so many great, interesting things in that game.
That's a lot on that game. Let's move on if we can.
Right.
Argo, I got to get. No, I know. We haven't spent enough time today on the Ticats Riders game tomorrow, which I want to, but just the fact that the Argos fans are so upset, their team's being displaced for 3 games next season, the Lions for 2. I'm just sitting here going, guys, what else were they going to do? Have you seen any talk on this?
King of displacement. I've been in Toronto a long time. We played a game up in Fort McMurray, Alberta. We played the Edmonton Elks because of a displacement thing. So, again, I think the way they're doing it is great. Here's the interesting question. So will Saskatchewan and Winnipeg sell these as 11-game season tickets, 9 a preseason game and this game? Will they sell it as an 11-game season ticket package and then cut the Argos a check for 1/11 of their season ticket money? Okay,
probably not.
Or they in the Argo letter it says you can actually, with your season tickets, you can actually buy one to the Hamilton game. So they'll have 7 games, 6 plus the preseason, and then they can buy the Hamilton game also. Which means that, again, the way these games go, if they buy it in their season ticket package, you're going to have a great crowd. We played in Hamilton Stadium, but played Calgary there and had about like 30 people. It was like it was an awful environment, an awful setting. It'll be better because Hamilton's playing. It'll be even better if they sell it as part of their season ticket package. And I'm sure, I'm hoping that's what happens. And that way the Argos get whole. And I was a little surprised they didn't do a Atlantic, a touchdown Atlantic type of game or that kind of thing. Or potentially play Montreal in Quebec City at Laval. Something along those lines. Might have been interesting. But I think they did it the right way. There's no doubt that World Cup would take priority and needs to. And that's a once in a lifetime, type of event. And I don't think that should be an issue with Argo fans. And again, I think if it's sold right, and when you watch television, it looks like a sellout when they play there. And again, it's just a regular game for Winnipeg. It'll be one of their home games. So it should be. And then if the Argos are getting the ticket revenue and you're an Argo fan, you should feel good about that. So,
yeah, I don't know why they're so upset, but for all the things you just said, number one, you'd think you'd be used to it, and I think they complain just to complain. But I get it, I totally get it, but it's also not new. And what else were they supposed to do? Okay, it's not even close. The game of the week is Ticats at the Riders, and I would
you're
think
wrong. You're wrong. The game of the week is tonight, Toronto, Saskatchewan, where you have 2 teams who have to win. Those 2 teams tomorrow, they don't have to win. That's you can talk. If they lose, if either one loses, they're still going to, worst case scenario at the end of the week, be tied for first. But these two teams on the bottom, they're going to be so far down looking up. These games, that game means something. You're going to see a lot more emotion in that game tonight than 6-7-1 playing 6-2
I hope so.
or 3.
Yeah, I hope so, because they're two not very good teams. But can we at least say you've got the Ticats pick to win the Grey Cup, and they may. I mean, if anybody wants to call this a Grey Cup preview, I'm not big on that in August, but I could see why you would say that. Like, that's pretty tantalizing matchup.
They're two best teams in the league right now, and two very physical teams. I think Saskatchewan playing at their level, when they play at their level that they're capable of, there's no team more physical than they are. And Corey Mace has made it that way, and that's why they are what they are right now. They matched that game they took to Winnipeg. They matched them physically, and it was just so impressive to me. If they do that, Hamilton's going to be in for a long ball game, I think. Now, Hamilton's offensive line, outstanding. The defensive line, not so much. And what surprised me is how well that Saskatchewan offensive line has been playing. They're keeping Trevor clean, and again, keeping him healthy is everything. I mean, it's just, that's everything for them. I mean, I love Mayer. I think Mayer could be a great backup for him, but we don't know. We don't know what he's going to be. We know what we're going to get with Trevor. And what you're going to get is a solid game. He's going to throw a lot of completions. And if you make an error, he's going to find Emelis in that seam and get a big play. You throw that with an offensive line that is being able to run the ball some. I think Mark Mueller is as sharp an offensive coordinator as there is in the league. I just, the way he packages the run game with the pass game, to me at times is brilliant. And again, I was an offensive coordinator in the league for a while, and I know how tough that is. And so I've been very impressed with how he utilizes formations and does those things. So I think Hamilton's in tough, but they're coming off of a bye, and which helps them. And they haven't played in forever, it seems like. Maybe it's not a bye, but they haven't played in a long time. So both teams are going to be healthy. They're going to both be rested. It'll be good. It'll be two teams, probably the two best teams in the league right now. I think the fans will be very into it. I think you're going to get a great crowd Saturday evening. It's a perfect setup. Again, I'm gonna pick Saskatchewan just because they're so physical. I just think that it's like a street fight, and you get. It's a little, it's funny because I was watching this week some of the NFL practice stuff, and Detroit was having practice with Miami, and Miami hired Mike McDaniel, who's a quirky guy. I mean, if you've watched him in interviews, he's just he's like an IT guy that has been in the lab all the time, and and he's brilliant. He really is an offensive brilliant guy. And then on the other side, you got Dan Campbell, and you got teams playing and practicing that way. I always take physical over geniuses. I just think that's football. And that's what I look at in this game. Not that I think Scott Milanovich does a great job, but I'm going to take physical over what Hamilton does right now. Even though I did pick them, I did pick Hamilton to beat Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup. If they look back at that TSN preview show, I think I'm the only one that had it.
Well, there's still lots of football left to be played. And since you opened the NFL door, I love going down that road. We're in week 2 of the preseason. Have you thought about a Super Bowl pick yet, by chance? And if not,
sure.
Would you? Yeah? What?
Sure. I mean, obviously, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are the team. How do you not look at them? They've been to, they're like Winnipeg up here. They get there all the time. I think they're very focused. I think the loss help them. I think they're, but they are getting older. Travis Kelce even said that. He said, we're getting older and whatever. So, but do I think they'll beat the Bills? I do. I think they'll beat the Bills. The AFL West, totally different thing. You go from coaches in that league, Brandon Staley, Nathaniel Hackett, and Antonio Pierce, to now it's Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. Now, you talk about an upgrade in competition. I just believe, again, I'm an old guy, but I love what old guys have done. So I think it's going to be a tougher road for Kansas City. But I like Kansas City in the AFC. I do like Buffalo, but I just think Kansas City knows how to get there, and they have, to me, the greatest player in the game right now in Mahomes. Again, so I'm going to take them on that side. And then, again, Philadelphia, they do things right. They really do. They do things right. So, again, I would pick and I hate picking a repeat of last year, but that's right. Now, again, one injury and it completely changes everything. But I think Philadelphia has done the things you have to do to continue doing what they do. I just love Saquon Barkley. I like the way their team is put together. Jalen Hurts is the right guy for that. Nick Sirianni, I think, is the right coach for them. It just all works. It works. I mean, Minnesota.
Yeah.
What are they going to be with new quarterback? Cleveland. I know you were talking about Shedeur. Shedeur Sanders plays a game and he's already out with an oblique injury. Please. I mean, it's all about being healthy.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's some of these guys get me. I mean, I just, you're in training camp fighting, and he's got a great opportunity because Dylan Gabriel's hurt. Joe Flacco, they're not giving any reps to. The kid from Pittsburgh, I can't even remember his name. He's not practicing. Kenny Pickett not practicing. What a great opportunity. And he's got a sore oblique. God, come on, man.
Kids. Well, listen, in the time we have left, because this may take you a while, I was reading a top 10 questions entering the college football season this week, and one was, how will Bill Belichick do in North Carolina? Wouldn't we all love to know that answer with Chris Jones? How do you think that's going to go with the Tar Heels?
You know what? I think they're actually going to be decent. I think they'll be decent. I'm going to say they'll be like 6-5. They'll make a bowl game. I think they'll make a bowl game, but they're not going to be one of the elites. I don't know that they've spent the kind of money. You look at the kind of money Texas and Georgia and Alabama and those people spend. It's a different. You're going to see the same teams in it every year. Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State went out and they lost a bunch of guys, but they just went out and bought a bunch more. And spent $2.4 million, I think, something along those lines. So it's guys are making a lot of money in college football now. So I think it's going to be hard for North Carolina to compete with that. I think that Belichick, I'm sure, recruited it like, you want to be an NFL player, I can help you do that. But it still comes down to money. And I haven't heard that North Carolina, Mike Tannenbaum's their GM, and, they're paying him $1.5 million. But how much have they paid players? And that's ultimately what it comes down to in college football is players win. And, again, Belichick, it'll be interesting to see. That's for sure. It's coming up. We're only a couple weeks away.
We're less than 10 days, I think, from the first actual week 0 game. Oh, yeah. Wow. And then I think it's Texas OSU in week 1. Like real early, we're going to find out who's tops in college football. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. The comments are coming in. Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, great job, coach. This year in the NFL, there will not be an undefeated team. Well, most years, AB, there is not. But thank you. Jeff the Stamps fan says, Belichick alone gets them a bowl game. High profile. I think the Pop-Tart Bowl. We'll see. That's played in Orlando.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah, I would love to go to that. Maybe I'll go to that. Okay, Coach, this has been great. Enjoy the football.
All right.
See you in a week.
Thanks, Rod. See ya.
Jim Barker joining us, 5-time Grey Cup champion coach. We'll get to all your comments and a sports update when we come back live here on Game Plus Television and, of course, found on all major podcast platforms.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. We'll get to as many of your comments as we can in viewer takeover, but a sports update time for Seat Giant. The Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight, playing host to the Texas Rangers. Toronto enters the three-game series, having taken 2 of 3 from the Chicago Cubs, including a 2-1 win Thursday. Jays now hold a 5-game edge over Boston for the American League East lead. Chris Bassett will start for Toronto with Jacob deGrom opposite of him for Texas. Here's the news that's got a lot of people talking, CFL fans especially today. The Canadian Football League, the Toronto Argonauts, and the BC Lions are opening their doors to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. With a total of 13 games taking place in Toronto and Vancouver, the CFL teams will play home games away from BMO Field and BC Place Stadium during the first half of next season. During the regular season, the Argos will play home games in Hamilton, Regina, and Winnipeg. And the Lions will relocate for 2 home games. They will detail their plans and ticketing details in a special announcement soon. Fans predictably upset, to be honest, more upset than I'd thought, but I don't live in either place and never have. Jim Barker said it well. He worked for the Argos for many, many years. I would think you'd be used to it by now. Canada's Brooke Henderson is tied for second going into today's second round of the LPGA Tour's The Standard Portland Classic. Henderson shot 7 under 65 on Thursday to be one shot behind clubhouse leader Adela Cernusek. Brooke Henderson hasn't won a tournament since January of 2023. The sports update is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. To the bat phone. I don't know where it is. I lost it. I thought I had it queued up here ready to go when we were talking about college football at the end there. Yeah, with Coach Barker. Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says, college football is getting ruined, in my opinion. Well, that's a matter of opinion. I totally understand what you're saying. It's just like baseball. The teams with the top payrolls will be in it at the end. It's not even anymore. That's just life. And to be honest, would you really, Rich? Be honest with me. Let's have the conversation. Would you rather go back to the way that it was before, that the leagues were making billions and the players were getting nothing? Because the reason you're saying college football is getting ruined or being ruined is because the players are now being paid. So it's a professional atmosphere, and I don't have a problem with anybody making money. I'm all for everybody making as much money individually as they can. Corporations, not so much, but certainly the athletes, the broadcasters, the coaches, yes, they've been persecuted for over 100 years. This is what we wanted for the players. The coaches are making more than ever. So this is what we have. And I remember listening to Dan Patrick a year or two ago, and it wasn't really about NIL, but it was about lack of parity and competitive imbalance in college football. And you know those blowouts that we see? He just goes, there's becoming more and more of them because there's a widening class of the upper and lower class in college football. And he says nobody seems to mind. That's what surprised him. But which surprises me that Dan would be surprised, because in Canada, we're all about parity. The table needs to be even. It needs to be fair for everybody. That's the Canadian way. In America, it's not. It's slitting throats, stomping on heads, right? The strongest, fittest will survive, get to the front of the line. That's the American way. So here we are. What did you think was going to happen? I think is what I'm trying to get to. There was a really good question came in here. Rich in Edmonton says, I totally get your point, Rod. It's just that it's going to be reduced to 4 to 6 teams being legit contenders for the national championship. I guess I'm old school. We're there and has been there for a couple of years now. So at least we have 12 teams in the playoffs. Upsets could happen, but they generally don't. As you know, it's not happening in basketball. Jeremy says money is ruining it, but besides that, it's really amazing. Every game is a Super Bowl. There's that. The pressure is unbelievable. You're right. Every game is a Super Bowl. That's pretty damn exciting. You lose 2 games, your season's over. We'll be back with Overtime right after this here on Game Plus TV and streaming.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody. It's overtime. Final segment of the program. Final segment of the week. What a weekend ahead. Primarily, number one goal, finding a new bell. Forgot it in Calgary, I think. It's not in my gear anyways. Unpacked from Theo's golf tournament. Exciting news from Randy and Michelle at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Proud, longtime partners of the RP show. They've got news today. They are putting their memberships on sale. Buy one, get one. If you know how Overtime Hockey Lanes works, this is for your 1 month and 1 year memberships. It's BOGO now. So unlimited lane and shooting time. You can hear these kids over here shooting. We're here in Moose Jaw. These are some very serious hockey players here learning from Kletzel Hockey. There, you can go learn, work on your game, and have fun. All for one low price, and now it's buy one, get one at Overtime Hockey Lanes. Head on down and see Randy and Michelle, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. We were just there doing a live show a couple of weeks ago. Tell them the RP show sent you, and maybe they'll throw in another goodie. There's always something exciting going on at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. We're so excited to partner with them. Funny comment from Rich in Edmonton regarding the way college football is going. And it's, here's the thing. I'm an Alabama fan. I'm not married to that, but I have been historically an Alabama fan for a few reasons. Had players that played there that are friends, coaches that coach there that are friends, and you could always get Alabama games on television. I've said that many times on this show. Even you always knew on basic cable you'd get an Alabama game on Saturday. Rich writes in from Edmonton. He says, I grew up a Washington State Cougar fan. Now it's like, what's the point? Hope they can win the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Whoopee! That part does suck. Similar to being a fan of the Colorado Rockies or the Pittsburgh Pirates or even the Miami Marlins. That's stick with your team. Look at Tony from Cochrane being a Cleveland Browns fan. They ain't ever going to win. So you all know that's not new. And in today's sports landscape, well, maybe not in the NFL, but certainly college football and baseball, you're not ever going to win. This was exciting. I did see the power rankings the other day. Came across my inbox, I guess. Blue Jays now the 4th-rated team from Yahoo Sports anyways to win the World Series, and the top American League team overall. But I'm like, wow, they do lead the AL in wins, so that shouldn't be a surprise. But a Brewers-Blue Jays World Series would be pretty exciting, which reminds me, the poll question today is, what are you going to be watching tonight? Now, that's, again, the way sports is now. Our poll question, what are you going to be watching? CFL, NFL, Blue Jays, or other? 65% of you on the EMJ marketing poll saying you're going to be watching the Canadian Football League. And if I could only watch one, that's what I would be voting for. So I voted for the CFL, Argos, and Elkamos tonight. 20% say they'll be watching the Blue Jays, and how many of them realize the game's on Apple TV? Streaming. That's where it's at. 8% say other, and only 7% say the National Football League. I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, but only fans of the Falcons, Titans, Seahawks, and Chiefs will be watching tonight because that's who's playing. It's a doubleheader on the NFL Network. Tennessee at Atlanta, followed by Kansas City at Seattle. I'll be watching that, but I'll be watching the CFL. I'll be watching some Blue Jays, and as I said earlier, sneaking in some forensic files too. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and says, yeah, Washington State's hard to survive. Kids would rather play in the SEC or Big Ten nowadays. Sure, of course. And, yeah, it goes back to the marketing thing, the Netflix series we were talking about earlier this week, any given Saturday, SEC football, just watching that gets you fired up. And it dropped with a month to go before the college season. Shocking, huh? And you know what? I do see people saying, oh, the CFL should do that. Oh, the CFL could just follow a team around with a cell phone and put something together. Well, the Red Blacks did that and didn't have great views. The Lions did it with their Arrow Up show, and it's a very good show. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. Rich in Edmonton says, great week, Rod. Great week to you too, Rich. Thanks for tuning in. Hang on. There was this great question here from Darren in Melfort, 902-518-3033. He says, with scoring being up in the CFL, is it because, everybody think about this and get back to me on Monday or on social media, write me. With scoring being up in the CFL, is it because of better offenses, weaker defenses, or a bit of both, or something altogether different? Oh, man. That came up during the Jim Barker interview, and Jim would have been a better guy to ask than me. But it is up, highest scoring games in the Canadian Football League since 2008. I saw that in the game notes. I think part of it has to be the veteran backup quarterbacks, I would think. There's been a lot of starters injuries, but the backups, there's been no drop-off in play. Jake Myers won games. Macbeth's won games, has he not, even though he's not playing tomorrow? There's got to be a variety of it. We changed the rules a number of years ago, especially pass interference. So that's not a factor. But if you watch these games, the offenses are pretty damn good, aren't they? Is it better coaching? Blair in Calgary writes in, hey, Blair. He says, Blair calling from the Trans-Canada Highway on the way to Regina to watch the Ticats whoop the Riders, hopefully. Love the CFL. Oski wee wee. Wildest thing. The dude was born and raised in Edmonton, lives in Calgary, but he's a Ticats fan. We don't have time to get into it. Jeff in Yorkton writes in, he says, I'm enjoying the Riders being at the top, but you have to win it in the fall for it to matter. That's right. Enjoy the game of the week, regardless of what Jim Barker says, everybody. It's the Ticats and the Riders on Saturday. We're going to watch them all, and we'll be back here on Monday to talk about all these games and a lot of other fun things. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Kevin Hughes and Jim Barker today. See you Monday.
Now I'm the whore and the pimp. That's where the money is.
How about that?